Greetings, fellow Thulians. Today I'm going to talk about creatures in Thule. And here you have the general information about how you calculate their hit points, their ability scores, and initiative. And then there are different types of creatures, and we will start talking a little bit about animals. And animals also have ability scores here, because you use ability scores for different things in the game. For example, willpower for morale tests, and dexterity dexterity for tests where you need to stay on your feet if that will be an issue, and of course strength if you want to use tactical advance. If you try to do that against a giant, you are very likely not to succeed. Animals are further divided into different groups. Here you have poisonous creatures and giant insects, and you have all sorts of different poisonous creatures and giant insects, and you have them all the stats for these creatures are in one place, so they are very easy to look up. The next category is land lizards and venomous snakes, and yet again some mechanic for how to survive being bitten by a venomous snake. And a brief description, of course, of each creature. Then you have bears, as well as birds and winged lizards. And by default, all the creatures are aggressive, but if they have another potential behavior, it will be listed, of course, in the random encounter tables, but also here for each individual creature. And let us look a little bit at the stats. Name of the creature, size, movement rate, the fright mod, meaning how scary they are, and how you adjust your die when you test your willpower for morale when you encounter them. Offensive value, meaning how much the bonus they get to their die when they attack you. The damage, and here also venom, and their defensive value. And the defensive value is for against melee weapons and missile weapons, or if it's listed like this, against both melee and missile. In addition to that, they have a +2 dexterity bonus for their ability to dodge blows. Hit points based on size. Then you have disease spreaders and boars, as well as sea creatures, all sorts of different types of sea creatures. Again, stat block to make it very easy to use. You have cats, which of course doesn't mean domesticated cats, but cave lions, leopards, lynxes, and smilodons. And here you have a stat block for dogs, wolves and hyenas, as well as cats. Riding and grazing animals and game, animated objects, and cursed trees, yeah. And of course you have a stat block for these as well. After the animals, we have humanoids, but I'm not going to talk about them today. Instead of talking about humanoids as well, I'm going to explain how it works if you are exposed to a poisonous creature, or indeed a venomous creature. If a creature is stung or bitten by a poison attack, the creature must test Constitution with a +4 adjustment to the die to resist the poison. And if you fail this test, you will become poisoned. If you critically fail, you will die. And for each subsequent hit after the first one, you suffer an additional +4 adjustment to the die. So the more you are bitten by a poisonous creature, the more difficult it will be to survive the poison. And of course, if you succeed, it doesn't mean that you don't feel ill or that it had no effect whatsoever, but it means that in game terms, the poison wasn't strong enough to affect you to give you the condition called poisoned. And then you have disease spreaders. When you are exposed to them, there's a chance that the creature carries a disease. And then you have to test your Constitution to see if you can avoid becoming sick. Let us return a little bit to the core mechanics here, because in the core mechanics it is listed how poison and the poison condition and the sick condition works. If you are already poisoned and you fail an additional test, constitution test for poisoning, you will die automatically. And likewise, if you are already sick and you fail an additional contest for another disease, you will die. You can't be double sick, you instead die automatically. Also have the information here on how to get rid of these conditions, because of course you can. And if you look at the intelligence ability score, which is related to the ability to heal, you can use healing to remove conditions such as sick or poisoned. In the adventuring section, you have information on how these different types of behaviors influence the creature, how they will behave. And you get even more information about that under it's in the same adventuring section or chapter under encounter behavior, where of course it is laid out pretty clearly. So shy animals will try to evade the player party regardless of whether they become afraid or not. If unable to flee, they will try to fight their way out. Peaceful animals will try to evade the player party if they become afraid, and if not, they will freeze, trying to avoid confrontation or simply ignore the player characters. They will fight back if attacked, but will automatically flee or fight to escape if they become seriously injured. Aggressive animals will try to evade the player party if they become afraid, otherwise they will attack and fight relentlessly. They will continue fighting until they are either killed or become afraid, in which case they will flee or fight to escape. And of course, to determine whether or not they become afraid, the Game Master checks their morale. If you want to find information about the different animals, you can do that in the table of contents, where every single creature is listed. Seriously injured animals. Any type of animal that suffers a serious injury is considered to be bleeding to death, and if it escapes, it can be tracked. Spend 1 movement point and test intelligence, adjust for the size of the creature tracked, etc. And you can find it dead within minutes. Note that this only applies to animals and not other types of creatures, who are assumed to either not bleed normally, like Ettin's trolls and animated objects, or be able to stop bleedings by using healing, natural or magic. So hunting is possible here. You can seriously injure an animal and then track it down. I may add that the reason why there are giant animals here, and insects even, is because of the influence of Jotunheimr. This terrible realm has modified and twisted and corrupted these creatures. The next time I will talk about humanoids and maybe trolls and Ettins as well. Thank you for watching.